tight when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night. It's another episode of On the Ball. This is the show during the summer recess where we look back on all the week's news, and I bring on a couple of guests each week, some familiar faces to talk about all the latest news with Wolverhampton Wanderers. As always, I'm absolutely delighted for our great, wonderful friends over at Creation Wolf who power tonight's show, delivering the industry's and latest and most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and digital capability to the next level. You can find them on creationwolf.com. And we've also got another partner tonight, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But first of all, let's welcome the first of my guests tonight, Mr. Cheerful Chris. How are you doing, youngster?
Hello, Dave. How you doing? Enjoying the
Yes.
Staffordshire sun today?
You what, mate?
Have you been enjoying the Staffordshire sun today?
Mate, I think, to be honest, I've been a lot happier than it's been a lot cooler today, because I don't mind it being warm, but it's been too warm for me. I'm not a lizard. I know some people really love the heat. I'm sort of like happy if it's sort of 22 to 24 degrees is kind of my perfect temperature. When it gets up to about 28, 29, 30, it's too hot. So I've been enjoying the fact that it's been a little bit cooler. Plus, my hay fever's been really, really bad because the pollen count's been really high as well, Chris.
I don't suffer from any of those afflictions, so I've enjoyed a day in the sun working and then in the hot tub yesterday.
You've been in the hot tub?
Yeah.
You got a hot tub at your house?
I have.
Fantastic.
It's not in the garden, but
in the garden. So what you been doing then? What you been working on?
I've just done some jobs that needed doing, obviously with football and caravans and stuff. I'm travelling through work. I don't have time to do stuff all the time, so bit of mowing, bit of odd jobs here and there, and end of the day, getting the hot tub.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Let's get him back on the. Where has he gone? There he is. We do have another wonderful guest tonight. I'm delighted to be joined by Wolves legend, Mr. Mel Eves, looking very, very smart this evening. Mel, how are you?
I'm absolutely marvellous, Dave. Great to be with you and Chris and everybody tuning in. So we're gonna have a good chat all about Wolves and see where we're up to.
We absolutely are, mate. Absolutely. It was good seeing you earlier on in the week as well. So thank you for coming on tonight. Guys, just before we get started, I do want to also let you know that tonight's show, we've also got a new partner with us. Fantastic. They are CADDY Comps, and they are the UK's biggest golf competition website. Every night on CADDY Comps, you can win all the latest golf equipment for as little as 79p. They have over 100 competitions per week, and they've already given away over £8 million worth of prizes to over 10,000 lucky winners. It's headed by former Premier League footballer Jimmy Bullard. He's the main man there. He's very handy at golf too, and you can check them out on the link below. And someone who's I do think likes a bit of golf. I think you do, don't you, Chris? In fact,
yeah, I played
golf with a Wolves legend recently. Another Wolves legend.
Yeah, well, there were quite a few Wolves legends there. I played in Jason's charity golf do at the Mount Golf Club. I played with Tuba Craig and his wife Jo, and our playing partner for the day was Andy Much, who in the Bad Golfer.
Yeah, I was speaking to Craig, who's about to be going to Australia for the for the Lions tour, and he said that you had a really good day, and he was a real top bloke.
Yes, smashing fella. Smashing fella.
Adrian, yeah. And who did you win?
Well, every day in life's a winning, Dave. So that's what I'll say.
Absolutely. Loads of people saying good hi to you all as well, and in the chat, which is fantastic. Carl loves his golf. Get yourself on the link. We'll give you a little bit more about that during the show. Mel, are you a bit of a golfer yourself, mate? Just before we get on to the football.
Well, exactly. I am a bit of a golfer, not a lot of a golfer, just a bit of a golfer.
Do you have a handicap?
Yeah, the usual, hitting the ball, but it's I don't have an official handicap, and I usually play in the games like you've just said about Jason's, but I think we were all otherwise engaged. I think that was Gary Pearce's funeral that day, so most of us that went would have probably played in Jason's golf day, so it was a pity that it just clashed with Gary's funeral.
Absolutely, and obviously we also want to send best wishes to. We were talking about it. I was at the foundation thing, and obviously Lofty as well, who's had an accident recently. So you'll know them all very, very well, won't you, Mel?
Yes, yeah, and it's. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of life. The older you get, the more funerals you go to. So I haven't been to many. Although I did go earlier this year. I did have a wedding to go to, which was great.
Well, four weddings and a funeral.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. But it's more like four funerals and a wedding when you get a little bit older, Dave.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably it. As you get older, I suppose you do get less weddings and you get more of them, don't you? So it's, I hope Gary Pearce's funeral went off really, really well. Let's get stuck into the Wolves debate then. I'm going to kick off, if it's okay with you, Mel, with Mr. Cheerful, Mr. Cheerful Chris. Let's start off with Fernando Lopez, or otherwise known as Fer Lopez. Chris, he's finally the first sign of the summer, but we'll also get your takes on the summer window so far, because obviously a few people are panicking. And you, of course, you're also a member, a board member of the Wolves 1877 Trust, and hopefully you can also give us a bit of an update on their AGM as well. Earlier on, I think, was that on Friday or Saturday?
AGM was Thursday, I believe.
Thursday, yeah. So let's kick off with Fer Lopez, the summer window, and let's get your thoughts before we go to Mel.
Well, Fer Lopez, I'm not that au fait with him. I've watched videos on YouTube, like most people have. He looks, he looks a comfortable ball player. He's got a bit of pace. He's 6'3" or something like that. I think he's quite tall. So, with a bit of pace, he's going to be quite powerful. I think he likes to play. I think he's left-footed, but likes playing inside right and come in and and let fly and that sort of stuff. I know, judging by the things that Wolves are putting out in social media, that Strand Larsen is looking forward to him playing with him. He mentioned in his signing on video that he's looking forward to getting on the end of some of his crosses. So that will be interesting. I mean, it's good to see the club identifying people, which they obviously have done, and laying a stake straight away and getting them in. I'm a big advocate of getting people in over the summer early, not leaving it the last 2 weeks. Pre-season training is about fitness, but it's also about acclimatization and players getting to learn each other. And I feel maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, we haven't had any learning from each other because they've only turned up 2 days before the start of the season. So that's a positive. I know it's only one signing so far, but I do think there'll be more. I think the Club World Championship thing that's going on is a little bit of a hindrance to sides at the moment, trying to buy players, because that's all going on. People are playing for them. People like Man City are playing there. There's players that are playing for them that I don't think will be there next season, but unfortunately, they're just packing out the squad and using it for those things. So that's where we are with that, I think. What was the other thing you was ask?
Just the summer window so far with the players that have gone out. I mean, I don't know if we've
in terms of
it,
it's I think there's no
Ryan
surprises.
you weren't a big fan anyway, were you?
No, and I can see him. Well, I think it's going to go two ways with him. He's either going to be brilliant with Pep, and not get exposed as much as he was at Wolves going forward and leaving gaps behind, and it not being such of a problem as it was for us, or he's going to get caught out, and people are going to ask why they bought him. But I'm not particularly pleased with the fee. I think the fee, when the side that have been runners up in the league or won the league in the last God knows how many years come knocking at your door, there should be a few more pounds of signs attached to the player. But maybe there's a reciprocal deal coming our way.
A lot of people have kind of said that. Also, don't forget he only really had a year left on his contract. I think we had an option to extend it, but that also comes into play. 5 years at the club, and he's gone. Obviously, Cunha's gone. On for Lopez, by the way, I mean, obviously, he's a 21-year-old, like you say. He signed a 5-year deal, 19.6 million. He's a product of Celta Vigo's youth setup. He showcased his talent with Gran Penna and Celta Vigo before breaking into their first season at the end of last season. Only in October, he made his senior debut, actually, in a 5-1 Copa del Rey win. He quickly followed that with a brace in the next round against Salamanca. And he had very consistent performances, which earned him a very frequent, after that, regular spot in the Celta Vigo squad in La Liga. And he only missed 2 league games since February. He netted his first league goal against Mallorca and showed off his ability to run from deep and finish. And he added another one with a home goal against Villarreal. As I say, it's a 5-year deal. Apparently, Lopez suits Vitor Pereira's system very well. He operates best as an attacking midfielder. Lots of skill to control the ball in tight spaces and set up teammates in the final third. He takes advantage of that open space and drives forwards. And he can create. Apparently, he's got a shot on him as well. As you mentioned, Chris, he's got a lot of balance that allows him to play through the middle or out wide or off the ball. He works hard as well. And under Vitor Pereira, work rate is going to be something which is going to be very, very important. So he's got technical skill, tactical awareness and strength, which are qualities that Vitor Pereira is looking for in his players. And he's obviously able to handle pressure because he's been in La Liga. Judging by the reaction of Celta Vigo fans, they're really, really.
I was going to raise that. I mean, you're getting a decent player when the selling club's fans are up in arms, and the day he signed, I saw that many pictures of a rat wearing a Wolves shirt. It was unbelievable. So they're obviously bitter, not because he's gone to Wolves. They're obviously bitter because he looked like a next big thing prospect. He's homegrown and he's just walked out of the club, and he hasn't just walked out of the club. The club have sold him. Let's be clear about that. Wolves have made an offer.
This is what makes me laugh, and I'm going to come to Mel to get Mel's thoughts on this. This is what makes me laugh. When it's about fan base, isn't it? We've sold Ryan Aït-Nouri. We've sold Matheus Cunha. We're a selling club. And then when we go and buy a prospect, and the Celta Vigo fans are from a club that their fans are upset, we're not a buying club, are we? Because we have, it's all about the perceptions. So, like, they're really, really upset because they were expecting him to. He's a bit like their version of Morgan Gibbs White in a lot of ways, because he's been with Celta Vigo from the age of 10. And then obviously Morgan's moved on to Forest. Love him or hate him, he's done really, really well for himself at Forest. And this young lad, they were expecting him to play for them next year in Europe because Celta Vigo finished 7th and qualified for Europe next year as well. And obviously he's taken the chance to move to the Premier League. Mel, what's your take on that first signing, mate?
Well, just carrying on from what you've just said, both yourself and Chris, Dave. We have to understand. We've had Diogo Jota go to Liverpool. We have had Pedro Neto go to Chelsea. We've had Cunha go to Man United. Aït-Nouri to City. Whatever you think about these players, but then obviously Celta Vigo, we can buy players from Celta Vigo. If it was the other way around, we'd be a bit disappointed. But there's a hierarchy, isn't there? And there always has been. If a player, if a player in my day went to Man United or Arsenal, like Alan Sunderland went from Wolves to Arsenal, did really well. That's what happens. We've got our place in the football world, which for some of us, the older listeners and viewers and what have you, we were the best team in Europe in the 50s. We were the best team in the world by the European press. We've dropped off a bit. We're still a top club in the 70s stroke 80s. And then the disaster came in the mid 80s where everything blew up and we nearly went out of business. And then we've slowly pulled ourselves back. And then we've had some relatively great success, first under Nuno. And then we're just waiting to go again with hopefully the Vitor Pereira, who I've been very impressed with, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. And I've just hoped that he gets the backing that he deserves, and us as Wolves fans that we want. This fair Lopez, I can honestly say I don't know anything about him. I don't watch the foreign football or look at it that much. So I just hope he's as good as what we're making out to be, but just give the lad a chance, let him bed in. It's good to get him, as Chris said, it's good to get him early, as opposed to the last few weeks of the transfer window. But it depends what the criteria is. We've got a new sporting director or director of football, Domeninco Teti.
Yeah,
let's see what he does. I don't know. As long as he's got a good relationship with the manager, he's got a good relationship with Jeff Shee and the board, and we're all on the same hymn sheet. That's the key. Then we've got a chance. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing some, but it's no surprise that, say, Pablo Sarabia is gone, because his legs were going a little bit. You couldn't really start games that much and what have you. But what a left foot! And to sign off with that absolute worldie at Man United, then fantastic. Everybody will remember that. Ryan Aït-Nouri, some of the stuff he's done has been absolutely magical. He's been worth the entrance fee alone because he's got great feet, the lad. But I agree with Chris. If he's playing in a 4, not for me, because you're going to get found out. If you in as a wing back, and going in and coming in and then giving him license to go forward, absolutely brilliant lad. Cunha the same. The interesting stat about Cunha was that he was top of the walkers, as I think. He came number 1 in the stats for walking most of the game. The other, I think 70% of the game he's walking about, but the other 30% he's absolutely different class at times, and he can win a game on his own, which we've seen him do, either scoring goals or making goals. What a talent! But as you say, he's probably gone to the right club, because they've got players similar nature to him all over the club. So I don't know. Nelson Semedo, thank you very much for your absolutely wonderful service to our club, because I think Semedo has been different class for me. He did suffer defending wise initially, but he got better and better. To be fair, wasn't the best suit in his armour, but going forward and everything, great captain, great ambassador for the club. I had the pleasure of meeting him on a couple of occasions, and what a smashing guy. Got time for everybody and represented the club very well. So excellent captain. But we've got to replace these players.
On Nelson Semedo,
Yeah.
obviously, at the moment, we're all sitting here waiting to find out what he's going to be doing. I think it's good that you bring him up because Vitor Pereira really wants him to stay. He's been linked with a return to Benfica. Apparently, I think Napoli have been interested. Both of those haven't been matching the offer that apparently Wolves have. This is what I'm hearing, that Wolves have offered him £120,000 a week on a 4-year contract to stay for a 31-year-old. That is a lot of money. I think that would be probably because if he goes, we're going to have to spend a lot of money to bring a quality replacement in.
If they can keep him on, I'm really happy with Nelson Semedo. I was under the impression that he was going, but if we can keep him, great. That's me.
No, absolutely.
Dave, I've got a slightly different view about Semedo in that he's been with us 5 years now. He's seen over the last 5 transfer windows how the hierarchy's performed in terms of recruitment and how they've bought and how they haven't bought and how they've sold and how they haven't sold.
Have I frozen or has Chris frozen?
I think Chris is frozen. He's not so cheerful at the moment.
Yeah, he's not looking very cheerful there. So we'll come back to him. Yeah, when he comes back in a minute, hopefully it looks like his connection's dropped. Mel, Semedo, the point that I'm making on Semedo is we don't know at the moment. He's got offers. He's also got an offer on the table from Wolves. For me, it's coming to the point now towards the end of this month that he needs to make a decision one way or the other.
Well, obviously, his contract's out. His contract finishes at the 30th of June, doesn't it? Football contracts do. So, yeah, he's probably got to be making decisions in the next week or so. Yeah,
I think so. Carry on with what your points were, Mel, because you were moving on from Nelson.
Sorry, internet went.
Mel, we're on mute there for some reason.
Ain't Nuri. I'm not aware of anybody else potentially going, but they're going to be moving. Things are going to happen with players going out on loan, us bringing players in. We need this Lopez can, from what we're talking about, can maybe cover for Cunha. But the big thing is that he brings players in that are team players. And that they'll do their job for the team. We made some really good signings in January that were really good team players, and that's been the key for me in bringing in team players that have just got on with it, have done their work, especially off the ball. Their work has been absolutely brilliant off the ball. When we won the 6 games on the trot, it was all about the team, and it was significant that probably Cunha didn't play in 4 of those games, did he? When he was suspended.
Well, we won 3 and drew 1 of those 4 games, and then he only came on as a second half substitute in the 5th.
Yeah, so it is really all about, from what I can see, which is really important from the manager's point of view. he wants players that are totally committed to doing exactly what they need to do when we've got the ball and when we haven't got the ball. Simple as. And you're only going to win things or do something consistently, and that's the secret with Nuno. Both with us when Nuno was with us and with Forest. They're very, very consistent. You know what they're going to do, but it's like anything. It's like fighting Mike Tyson when he was at his peak. You know it's going to be. You know it could be that left hook's going to get you, but it's the problem is stopping it.
It's hard to stop.
You know, you might know where that it's going to start with Gibbs White on the counter attack, and then they've got the bloody speedsters. Plus, you've got the New Zealand lad up front that knocks in the goals. You're thinking, well,
Chris Woods.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen, but you can't stop it. They come here. We knew exactly what was going to happen and lost 3-0.
Absolutely. Let's go back to Chris. Chris, you suddenly froze and then went out, but you're back. What point was you making?
It was just on Semedo. Obviously, he's been over 5 years now. He's seen what the club's done on transfer windows, so he's seen those years where we've had nobody coming until 4 days before the window, 3 days before the window closes. I just wonder whether, because he's not gone anywhere as of yet, there's a bit of him is the club's already said what they plan to do, and he's just waiting to see whether it actually happens before he commits again. I think there might be a bit of that.
That could be that. Talking about that, we're going to be moving on to the next section, which is talking about the Domeninco Teti. We will be coming on to the latest players linked with Wolves shortly. But I think someone's raised it about apparently some Vitor Pereira comments that had been made to a Spanish journalist. I think the comment that they're referring to is that we have a strong team, but I'm a little worried about the situation. We must bring in quality players because expectations are growing. And then you get all sorts of things going. Here we go again. Nuno wanted some money. Bruno.
I mean, Dave. Dave. Anybody that follows football will see us selling players. It ain't rocket science to understand we've got to make additions. So I don't think he said anything controversial there. I don't think there's anything to get. You know me, I'm the first Mr. Negative. I don't think there's anything there to be getting upset about. We've got to let the club go and secure the players that they need to. They've changed the sporting director. That they say they've learned lessons. We've got to let them. We've got to let them do it.
On that, Chris, the Domeninco Teti, you've seen him in the. You haven't heard him talk yet or do a proper interview at Wolves or anything like that. But we did see that he had, I think I can try and find a picture, but you did see...
Well, there was a clip with him on Fair Lopez's signing video. If you've watched the club video where they're following about for a day or two, Teti comes in and talks to him in fluent Spanish, which was impressive. And then in English, and he's asking him about his family when they're coming over. So I was quite pleased to see that. He was talking to him, the lad, in his own language. He was explaining to him different languages and what the players spoke there. And look, if he's worked with Vitor before, he wouldn't be here if he didn't think he was any good, would he? It just wouldn't.
Well, this is my point exactly. He was there's pictures of him there. So he is at Compton. He's not exactly a sporting director. He is a technical director. He's come in, and obviously he's coming in to work as a technical director. For the understanding is that he's going to be helping with the footballing side of things in terms of making everything run round. This is the other reason why I think Vitor Pereira, he's going to have a lot more say in the players that he brings in, because Hobbs has obviously gone out and there's been this big restructure, and this is why I feel quite positive. And I don't know about how Mel feels about this, but to me, obviously get your views on Hobbs going as well, Mel. But Hobbs has gone. Domeninco Teti has been brought into a technical director. There's been a big reshuffle in the leadership team. And I don't think any of that would be happening, bringing in this Domeninco Teti and giving Vita more of a say, more of a manager role than a coach, just a first-team coach role. If there wasn't, I see that as a sign of intent that things are going to happen this summer for a change rather than lastminute.com. What's your take on all the changes, Mel?
Yeah, I sometimes know a little bit more than most supporters, but not very often. But what I can tell you is that I believe that it's a really good sign, and that, as I say, I've been really impressed with Vitor Pereira, and I think that if they back him in the right way, that we'll be okay. Bringing in somebody that he knows, and that I've just mentioned it earlier on, they've got to all be on the same page. In other words, the Jeff Shee and the directors, the technical director, the new guy Domeninco Teti, and the manager. And as you say, a lot of the time clubs operate with first team coaches, don't they? Or as opposed to managers.
Yeah.
So,
not like how it used to be when you were playing.
It used to be the manager. The manager came in. He'd got his chief scout. He's usually got his flipping flat cap and his pipe, and he'd go and watch team. And then the manager would take notice. Well, if my chief scout says he can play, I want to sign him. And that was it. They had great trust in the chief scout and the scouting network. It's obviously a lot more intricate now. It's a lot more sophisticated. There's a lot done, and they have to have a scouting network worldwide now. And there's a lot done more on obviously laptops, as we see, rather than in a phone box. Not even mobiles when I was playing. So things have moved on a hell of a lot, and I don't think they act. And the big thing for me is you can't buy players off videos. You can get a lot from the videos, but you need to see players play. You need to see the whole game, and you need to get to know or trust somebody whose opinion you can trust regarding their character. Because many years ago, I interviewed lots of managers, from Jim Smith to Big Ron Atkinson, Harry Redknapp, etc., etc. And they all said to me, because one of the questions that I would ask them is, we've all heard about you've got to have a good dressing room. That's the key to, as well as good players and obviously good managers, which is why I'm talking to you. What's your secret? What do you think? And literally all boiled down to 2 words: no dickheads in the dressing room. I think that terminology might have come from the New Zealand rugby world team, but literally those managers said you can't have any idiots in the dressing room. So it's usually the ones that upset everybody and they're just laying little poison down everywhere. They're usually some of your best, the most technical players.
Yeah.
So then I've got you. Then you might have a little fight with the chairman. Look, we bought this player. He's blooming one of our best players. Why aren't you playing him? And I'll say, yeah, because he doesn't fit in. In other words, you've got to get those kind of players out of your dressing room before they get you out. So the biggest thing that Vitor Pereira will be doing, in my opinion, I don't know Vitor. I haven't met him yet, the biggest thing is he's got to be comfortable with the dressing room, and he'll get feedback from his coaches and himself, obviously, but his coaches and the senior players. You've got to have good senior players in your dressing room. Everything's got to be right. You know, we've all heard about the old Liverpool boot room, and that was the secret to their success, etc. Man United with Fergie, Arsenal with Wenger. It's a culture, and you've got to bring in, as well as really, really good players, technically, you've got to bring in the right characters. And that's something that you can't see on a CV or on a video regarding character. So that's really important that they do their homework on that. And then if you get that right, you've got players that want to give absolutely everything for the shirt. You've got a chance.
Absolutely. And just in the chat, I know people are putting questions to ask us to talk about different things. We're not going to be moved off the subject that we're talking about because you want us to move on to something that you want to think. If there is a Q&A at the end of this podcast, and at the end of this podcast, you can ask us any question that you want, and we'll give you our best answers. That's from myself, from Chris, and from Mel. But when we're talking about a particular subject in the chat, stick on to that. There is a chance for Q&A at the end that you can ask any other further questions because we're talking about that. Chris, you've heard what Mel's had to say there. And, Mel's, very, very experienced. He's played, he's been an agent, worked in the sports psychology, does a lot of work with the foundation as well. Some fantastic work for youngsters. I've seen him on a tennis court with lots of youngsters with mental health issues, really helping them. He's a real top bloke. And, he's seen the game through many, many years at Wolves, and obviously a mad, passionate Wolves fan, also been in the commentary box, for WM as well. Chris, you're well known for speaking your mind about things, and that's what we love on you. Even when you're in the chat, sometimes you'll pipe up and give your views, and you're not shying coming forward with criticism. If you feel there's something to say, you will say it. Absolutely. Nope. You're one of the reasons that you're a board member of the trust is because you deeply care, and if there's something that needs to be put forward, you'll put forward. At this point in time, with the management restructure, with Domeninco Teti coming in, with where we are in the transfer window, with all the players going, honest to God, from your heart, good or bad, where are you sitting right this point of time?
In terms of where I think we are, I'm completely content at the moment. I'm heartened to see the chairman. Look, my beef is with generally how the club is being run at the top, with what I would maybe class as schoolboy errors. But I maybe to be fair, they're probably I know it's a business, but this is a football club, and a football club needs to be ran or managed, overseen by people who understand football. And whatever we've had in our organisational structure last couple of years, either the people that understand football are not being listened to, or the person at the top is just going down their own path. So I'm really heartened to see that Jeff Shee's come out and said, look, mistakes are been made, and we're going to address those. He's been quite vocal that that's what's going to happen. I think as fans, what we've got to do is, anybody can, get things wrong. The measure of that is addressing what's gone wrong and putting in a plan to change it. And, he's brought in this new director of football. So he's identified there's something not quite right there. He's sold a couple of players, and for reasonable profit. Maybe one of them not as much as we like. And he's trying to address that. He's trying to get this new manager in. After all, let's give them a bit of credit. He put Vitor Pereira in the job. So he saw the problem and addressed it. I'd like us not to keep having problems and have things going well, rather than making a decision, having a problem, having to react to change it, and constantly going around that cycle. So I'm of the view that we as fans need to get behind the club now. Let them. Let's see what the proof of the pudding is over this summer. What comes out in terms of a squad at the end of the window, and get behind the team and see where we go. I don't really see being anything else really achieves anything at the moment. And I'm somebody who'll moan as soon as I can, because maybe I see things going wrong a little bit earlier than other people, so that's why I do it. But I think if you can't see things are trying to change now, you might need to take the blinkers off.
Absolutely. No, I think you make some really, really good points. So I think that's fair comment. I mean, and you'll always say how it is, Chris. And I do think people are very, very quick to panic on the window. And I can totally understand why they would panic because of previous summers. And there's no one that can really excuse the fact of the underinvestment or the mistakes that have been made since the pandemic, since Nuno went. We've gone 7th, 7th, 10th, 13th, 14th, 16th. And I've said many, many times on the show, if you stand still in the Premier League, you will go backwards. You have to keep moving forwards. And we have skated close to getting sucked back into the Championship twice. We will probably not get away with it a third time. From my understandings and from everything that I'm hearing from within different sources at the club, there is a change of mindset. We do have a little bit more financial freedom with the PSR. Obviously, we're generating revenue from player sales. That doesn't mean that if we bank £60 million straight away, that we can just use it straight away. Like, it's something that there's the amortization and stuff like this that gets paid over stuff. But generally speaking, the vibes that I'm getting and also the action that's been taken off the pitch with this restructure says to me that this year they're going big and there will be other players that are coming in, and there's a plan and a structure. Mel, is that something that you sort of think as well before we move on to the players that we're going to be bringing in?
I was just literally looking at the while you were talking there. I was just having a quick look, browse down some of the players that we've got that haven't been, that may be out on loan, or the young lads coming through, because that's the key. You look at your top teams, even Arsenal, Liverpool, they tend to bring, they have young lads coming through. Now you'd expect it to be the other way around. You'd expect some of the mid-table to lower time, which we are, getting more young lads through, but they seem to get the young lads as well. Now, whether it's the fact that Wolves might have a lad that's absolutely different class, but suddenly they'll have to let him go when he's 14, because not a lot of people will find out, but Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal have put 2 or 3 million in for him, and they can't, and that's it. He goes. So it's what I'm trying to say is it'd be great to see more lads come through from the academy and the system, because I've been fortunate to go down the academy and have a look at them train and do whatever, and we got some really good lads, but for whatever reason they're not progressing as we'd like, as a fan, or he's one of our own type of quotes. We're not seeing many Morgan Gibbs White come through. We're not seeing, and then before that, I can't think of too many that have come through. And you think, which that's a thing I'd like to see. But obviously, it's a world game now, so we know that. And when we had, obviously, we knew now it was virtually the Portuguese, virtually got more Portuguese players in the team, which I don't mind where they come from. It's no problem at all. But looking at of what Liverpool have done, even City, Man City, and whatever, you're thinking, well, they're going to get players from all over the world, the best players, but they still have players coming through their academies. The fact that they're probably getting from all over the world, that some of them aren't local, but some of them are local lads. That's the point.
Mel, do you think some of that is born from the fact that for the last, as Dave says, for the last 3 or 4 seasons, we've had bad pre-seasons, transfers. We've struggled. We've been fighting off relegation, so the managers can't risk developing the young lads into the team because they've been up against it and they're fighting for points. Do you think that's got any?
You make a good point there, Chris. I mean, we've had obviously the link with George Mendes, for instance, is well known with Nuno and with Fosun. So that really helped us, to be perfectly honest. We did well out of that. We had more successes. You're never going to get everyone right, and some are going to pick up injuries at the wrong time, and that you're not going to get everyone right. But we got more right than wrong. I mean, when you bring in players like Jota before they everybody knows about him. Neto the same. Jimenez was brilliant. But we're hoping that the manager's relationship with the new technical director Teti, and then with Jeff Shee as well, that we can bring in players. But I think for the long term, the medium to long term success of the club, we've got to work on the bringing players through the academy. For me,
well, just on that, Mel,
just one or two every season or whatever.
Just on that, Mel, Matthias Mane, he's coming through. It's been reported today that there's been a lot of offers for him. He's agreed to sign a contract. Vitor Pereira has basically said that he's going to be part of the squad. So he's a player, Matthias Mane, that is going to be coming through. Looks really, really useful, really, really good. The only thing I would say to everyone is, look, in the words of Dad's Army, don't panic, Mr. Mannering, literally at the moment, because it's still early days. I agree with Chris that they need to get the players in, at least most of them, for the start of pre-season, because it's not just about fitness, it's about fitting into the dressing room, it's about the manager, what he wants. I'd start to worry a little bit if we're mid-July and we've still only had one signing coming, which is this Fair Lopez. The other thing I will agree with on Chris, because of the Club World Cup going on at the moment, I think that's not helping. Wolves have been linked to a couple of players from Fluminense, and they're involved in that as well. The other thing is Wolves have moved their accounts from the end of May to the end of June for the accounting period for last season. I don't know whether that will mean that you'll start to see a lot more start to happen from the 1st of July when it moves into the next accountancy period. Chris, you might have some thoughts on that, because I'll get you've studied the financials quite a lot, and I think that might have something to do with it as well. They might just hold off another week, and then you might see a flurry of things happening in those first 2 weeks of July.
I think, yeah. I mean, look, there is a benefit from extending your financial year. You get a whole month's extra revenue in your accounts for the year that's just gone. So I don't think that was the primary driver for it, though, Dave. I think the reason that was done is they were out of sync with most of the rest of the Premier League. So, with that being said, if everybody else is behaving in that way because their financial year is acting a certain way, it's disrupting yours. So I can see that they've maybe made that as a conscious decision to be the same as everybody else. So I don't think, if we'd have had this discussion 3 years ago when we were in real difficulties with FFP or PSR, what it was called, then the cynic in me would say, yeah, we're in the mire, we've had to do it. I don't believe we're in that position now. So I think it's more about aligning to the rest of the Premier League because of transfers than doing it to extend our accounts for last year just gone.
Absolutely. Guys, we've got over 600 of you watching live, which is fantastic. Thank you for joining us, whatever platform that you're doing. Love it if you'd give us a follow on whatever platform you're watching. If you get onto the YouTube, you can actually join in the chat if you're a subscriber. And thank you for anyone that's joining us over on TikTok as well. Much appreciated. We've got some on a different platform joining us over on TikTok too. Just before we go on to talking about incoming transfers and links, I'd say we're being supported this week by CADDY Comps, and Jimmy Bullard would like to say a few words about that, and the link is in the description below.
You didn't know my nickname was the Beaver, did you? There's nothing worse than playing with a driver you've just won and you keep the sticker on. Take the stickers off. Win all the latest golf equipment here at CADDY Comps every night for as little as 79p. That was levered, that was.
So the link is in the description below. If you use that link, use our link. Not only does it get you some great opportunities on there to win some golf equipment or even some money, or even you can even win a Range. Is it a Range Rover Sport that you got? You can enter for 89p. I think on there's loads of prizes going on there. Some great golf gear. And the link is in the description below this video. So hopefully some of you will get on there and enjoy that. I know quite a few of you already have. Chris, I think you've had a bit of a go on this, haven't you?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a tinkle on it. Not really won anything, but that's just me. But yeah, those kind of things are quite good. You can see what I like about those things is you can see how many entries there are. And you can see what your probability is of winning, and that they are limited, so they don't just keep selling and selling and selling. There's a finite amount, and once that's gone, the thing gets drawn. So we'll see.
We'll see. You've got to be into it. They have over 100 competitions per week, and they've already apparently given over £8 million worth of prize, and there's been 10,000 lucky winners. So Chris, hopefully you'll be one of the lucky winners very, very soon. So let's move on to the of course, players incoming. Wolves have been linked with quite a few players. A player Brazilian from Fluminense, a couple more from Real Betis. Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton is another one that's been linked. Now, Boston Brian told me about this a couple of months ago, that there might be interest from Wolves, because obviously Brian used to work helping with the academy at Southampton, so he knows a lot of the Southampton players that come through that era. Mel, what would you think about a player like Kyle Walker-Peters coming into the Wolves squad? Is he there? Oh yeah, he's there.
Well, when I was seeing him, he looks like a decent player. Looks like a decent player. If he's coming in, if Semedo went out, then I think that would be a great addition to the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's another one, Atletico Junior attacking midfielder Jordan Barrera. He's 19. They've been looking at him as well. Chris, where do you think we need to strengthen, mate? Where, if you were like the technical sporting director or one of the team advising Vitor Pereira, I think that we're going to probably end up, there's going to be 5 or 6 signings made this summer. I think Lopez is the first of 5 or 6. If there was another 4 or 5 to come in, where would you be?
I think I think you're right. I think real first teamers, 5 or 6. I think that won't be all. I think there'll be a few more. I think I can see I can see us losing up to 10 players, to be honest. I think a goalkeeper's a must, whether that is a new number 1 or a number 2. I think we need to get rid of the number 2s, number 3s, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7 goalkeepers that we've got, because I don't know why we've got them all. And I think we need to get a decent, if Sarr is moving on, there's rumours he's maybe going, then we need to replace him, obviously. So I think I'm reasonably comfortable at the back. Obviously, apart from Semedo, I think I'm happy with Hugo Bueno, Totti, Agbadou, Mosquera if he comes in. There's talk about other centre halves. I think Christopher Wu used to play with Agbadou. Looks a decent player. I could see us signing him.
Christopher, yeah, he looks good. Gezard, is it Gezard as well? That one that the
and we do need. I think I think we need up front is pace.
Yeah, I think pace definitely.
And obviously, we've got a right-sided player now with Fair signing, so we need some pace up front. I think
definitely. Mel, what would you? Well, then he's gone. Is he still? Or I bet Mel's had a phone call just as because that happens sometimes when you get you're on the live and then you get a phone call. Yeah, I think we need. I think Vitor Pereira is definitely looking for these players with pace up front, which are very, very good in one-on-one situations. He's also said he wouldn't mind another left-sided centre back because he's so we've. And I like the way he's thinking there because, like last year, we were all screaming out, if something happens to one of them 3 at the back, we're in real trouble. And then, of course, and Mosquera gets injured. I think Doc is going to be a really good, versatile player for us next year. Matt Doherty, he's highly underrated for me.
That is what I think Pereira wants. I mean, the unwritten rule is 2 players in every position, is it? That doesn't mean you need 22 players in your squad, because what the clubs look to do now is have a Doc that can play a right-sided centre half or a right back or a wing back for in an emergency manner, and that's how football's tended to go now. So I think we're going to need. I think it's the exits which I'm interested in, Dave, because I think look at the front. We've got Kuna, we lost Sarabia. I'm not sure Wang's going to be staying. I could see him going. We've got Fabio Silva maybe going. Chiquino seems to have been. He's been overlooked now. So that's 5 forward straight away. That they're squad players. We've got to replace them. So I think I really do think this is a massive summer of change for us.
Absolutely.
It's our biggest summer, I think, since Fosun have come in, bar the year where we just recruited to go up for the championship.
Absolutely. Well, we got Mel back there. There was a technical interruption. I don't know whether it was your internet or something, but we've got you back, Mel. What happened there?
I don't know. It's I don't know. It just sort of went off, didn't it? So I had to shut down, come back, and then dial back in. So there you go.
Well, we got you back. We're glad to have you back. Glad to have you back.
The one thing I'm not is an IT expert.
I think you said that before. Guys, we've got so many of you watching live, 600. Make sure you do hit the like button. I would love to get over 100 likes. So obviously someone will let us know how you're doing. It really helps us. Helps the channel and helps the platform know that you're enjoying the content. We're going to move on now from that, and there will be Q&A at the end. Don't forget, we're going to move on now to the next item, which is the pre-season schedule. We will get onto the Premier League fixtures, but the pre-season schedule starting to look fixed. I kind of knew what it was a few weeks ago, but obviously things were waiting to be confirmed, which we didn't want to say too much. We've got Stoke at Stoke. I think there'll be three, 4 games that Wolves fans can go to. The Potters, we're going to have, I think is it Lons on the 30th of July, which is going to be at the Bescott. I think there's going to be tickets for that. I think they'll probably have their biggest crowd of the season. Walsall for that one, my mate Simon. Maybe you'll drag him along to that one as well. The Walsall fans apparently aren't very happy. I talked to my friend Simon, who's Walsall Fan TV, about this, and I just don't get why Walsall fans have such a beef with Wolves. And apparently it goes back 50, 60, 70 years because Wolves blocked them getting into a division or something or other, and it goes back to that. And as Wolves fans, we like, little Walsall, we like Walsall, but they have a real beef with us. Then we've got it's a Sunday night game to Girona. I think you're going to that one, aren't you, Chris, with Sutty?
Yeah, I shall be going over there with my good friend Keith, and we're all booked up, all sorted.
Are you hoteling or Airbnb-ing, or what are you doing?
We're hiring an apartment near the cathedral in Girona.
Yeah,
it's quite a interesting, very old apartment, very architectural, interesting. Not that I'm going for that, but we've identified the right watering holes already, so they're already scouted out, and we'll be having some fun.
absolutely. How long are you going over for?
We're flying out on the Friday, early Friday morning, and flying back midday on the Monday.
Fantastic. So yeah, you'll hopefully be able to get some reporting from Chris and Sutty whilst they're over there, which would be fab. And then
I won't be sharing any videos from the cocktail bar like I did when I went to watch England play Greece in Athens, Dave. That's not happening this time.
That was a late one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was a very late one. And then we've got interestingly Celta Vigo. So that will be the match the week before the season starts, the home match at Molineux. And of course Celta Vigo, Strand Larsen, and of course Lopez. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. But that's so that the preseason schedule's all sorted. There is 4 opportunities to go and watch those games. What do you make of the preseason schedule, Mel?
Well, it's
good opposition in there, to be fair.
It's good opposition. It's good opportunities for the fans to go and see the team, but also the away, that trip, that long weekend that Chris has got sounds great. Yeah, brilliant. I've got I love it. I love Italy. I've been to Italy probably more times than I've been anywhere else other than Wales abroad. So there you go.
Italy. Is Girona Italy?
Oh, sorry.
Spain.
Sorry,
yeah.
North of Barcelona. Near Lloret de Mar.
That's it,
yeah.
No. It sounds great. It sounds great. But I've been to Spain. Spain probably is just less than I've been to Italy. So there you go.
Well, not long come back from Rome. Mel went for Rome 2 or 3 weeks ago. Absolutely fantastic. Apart from it was really, really hot. I'd really love to be going to Girona, but like we're having the garden done that weekend, so it's going to be difficult for me to be able to escape to come. But I'd quite love a little weekend with Chris and Sutty. That would be fun. That would. I'd really enjoy that. So I don't know. The tickets aren't on sale yet, are they?
No, they've announced the a golf tour package, which I did register for interest, but I just sometimes it's nice just to go and do your own thing and then turn up and watch a football match. I just thought I'd do it that way.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So that's the pre-season. We're going to come on to the Premier League in a second, but also we need to be mentioning the fact that the Wolves women, Macca, has committed his future. Obviously, we talked about this and campaigned on this when it all kicked off after the end of last season about the backing of the Wolves women, the fact that they hadn't put the licence in to go up or applied for it. Macca has been saying, who's the Wolves women manager, everyone knows Wolves are a huge part of my life, has been for a long time now. After a difficult end to the season, a tough summer, it's brilliant to finally commit to the season and focus on what we're trying to do over the last few seasons to get promoted. He's gone on to say he never wanted to leave Wolves. From where we took it now, it's night and day. I'm really proud of that. And the people have been part of it. Now we've got to look at the next phase, and we've got a great platform to build on. He says the staff we put together have been unbelievable people. And there's more opportunities next year, he says. And he said that he's committed. He's gone on so that they've showed that the ambition was still there. The ambition has been shown over the last few weeks, which has excited me. And maybe want to lead this group forward, and we're doing everything we can to take it to the next level. The players deserve it, the fans deserve it, the whole club deserves it to be in the WSL2, which is the division below the top division. And so I think that's positive signings as well from Macca, who's a real top guy. I had the pleasure of sharing a dressing room with him recently at a charity match organised by Robbie, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. But I'm seeing from that and hearing from other sources that there's positive signs about, taking the women's side of it. Some people have been talking about the esports side, and they've been doing very successful with the esports teams. But the investment into the women's game is really, really important as well. And Mel, are you as pleased as what I am, and I think most fans that do follow the women's game as well as the men's game? And of course, Wolves is a brand that Macca has committed, and that's a sign that that's moving in the right direction as well.
No, absolutely. I think that all of the top clubs that you look at Arsenal, Man City, Man United now, even Liverpool, obviously Chelsea, they're all the top women's teams as well, aren't they? So it's great to see the club put the backing in there to get to get the women's game as recognised as the men's. Yeah, fantastic.
It is. Chris, what's your thoughts on that? And the trust point of view, I'm guessing the trust have got to be quite positive about that as well.
Yeah, trust put a statement out. Look, I've already talked about the hierarchy, learning lessons, and there's an example of them this summer putting their hands up saying, we've got this wrong and learned a lesson. And that the mood music is now what they're going to do. Macca's, come out and said what they're aiming for. The opportunity to get 2 promotion places this year is really, really, look, the last 4 years they've been second every, so it's their time. It's Macca's time this year. The club and the players, and they've got to all be pushing for it this year to get into that WSL2. And I'll be down the Bucks Head, or whatever it's called nowadays, but I call it the Bucks Head. And I'll be there cheering them on when I get a chance to, as I've seen you there a few times as well.
Well, it's important that we support the women's team and stuff like that, and I'm really, really pleased about that. We'll continue the coverage next year as well for it. So we'll obviously see what happens with the players. Just before we get on to the next bit, I was just recently talking about a friend of mine, Robbie Meakin. Obviously, I played a charity fundraiser, obviously a WCRFM. They support the Content Creators Cup as well, which we raise money for the foundation. Robbie has recently been sadly diagnosed with colon and liver cancer, and which is a young man as well, and he does a lot of fundraising and stuff like that. He's a good friend. I've had a few laughs with him. Always try and support his fundraisers, and unfortunately, as I say, he's got this diagnosis. I spoke to him the other day, and there is a Just Giving link to help him with that. You can read all about that on the screen. There's someone called Holly that's doing a skydive with their dad on the 29th of August to help raise money for Robbie and his fiancée Lauren whilst they're going through this difficult period. And you can, if you want to support that, you can donate. There's already over £1,800 been raised in a few hours to support Robbie during this time when he can't work whilst he's on recovery. So it's there on the screen. If you want to go and find it, it's the gofundme.com /Robbie-Meekins-fundraiser, and you can go and support. He's a Wolves fan as well, so if you can help in any way, please do so. Next up, we're going to be talking about Wolves Premier League fixtures, Mel. So let me share these on the screen, and I want to get Mel's initial thoughts on this. Here we go. On the screen, Mel. These are the fixtures. Kicking off with Manchester City at home, Bournemouth away, and Everton at home, Newcastle away, Leeds at home, Tottenham away in the first 6 matches. What's your take on that, mate? Mel? Was he froze? Oh, he's back. Yeah. Mel, what's your take on the opening fixtures? Hello, mate. What's your take on the opening fixtures there?
Well, I think it's really down to how Wolves play. I mean, we had a really difficult opening start to last season, didn't we? And,
we did.
But I think it really is all about getting a mentality in that success is an inside-out job, not an outside-in one. And the thing is that I think we were beaten before we started last season in the fact of, we're not going to start getting points until after about the 2nd or 3rd month into the season. And you're beaten before you start. So it doesn't matter who you're playing. You've got to set your stall out that you're going to go for it. So for me, I don't think it matters too much who you play. Obviously, it's a little bit easier if you're playing one of the teams that's just come up as opposed to Liverpool, Arsenal or Man City. But can't get an harder start. But it is what it is. I really think it's all down to the mentality. You see, I mean, we're playing Bournemouth. Bournemouth have done absolutely wonderfully, the same as Brentford. Obviously, Thomas Frank going to Tottenham. I think they'll be really strong this year. I really rate Frank and the team around him and the overall ethos. And I've looked into it, what he does, and he had a massive impact, similar to what Wenger did when he first came into Arsenal. All of the different things modalities and different things that he brought in there, and then everybody caught up because they were looking, what's he doing? We've got to, and then most of the teams then obviously employ that. So after the first, second season, everybody catches up a little bit, but you get a run on it. But I think that Vitor Pereira will want to instill, and the Wolves fans will want to see, a confidence in the team that no matter who they play, they're going to perform. And they're not beaten before they start. And I think there was a mentality at the beginning of last season, before Vitor came in, that we were more or less beaten before we started, because it was we're not going to we can't see us getting any points, or we might get the odd draw before that game, which was about the 7th or 8th game last season.
Well, I remember Chris last year, and I remember him thinking, really? I think he said, I don't think we're going to get any points out the first 9 games. And I laughed. I thought, yeah, and we got 1 point. Because it was, I had to do a forfeit if it was 0. So I was glad for that. Did you remember that, Chris?
I do. I mean, it is difficult to make a assessment now, because obviously we don't know what the squad is going to look like at the end of the transfer window. I mean, but you know, I kind of like this game, Dave. You know, I like this. So I'd be quite. I'm going to put my neck on the block and say I reckon that by the end of October we'll be have at least 12 points.
12 points by the end of October, like it. Yeah. Mel,
I mean, if you look there, you've got 3 promoted sides in that block of games.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I do you know what? I think we're going to go and we'll turn up and we're going to turn City over first game. I think they're coming off the back of the Club World Cup. City aren't always necessarily fast out the blocks. We're at home at Molineux, first game of the season. I really think that we can win that game and get off to a real good start. It'd be nice to win our opening fixture of the season. That would be great.
Well, having somebody on the right-hand side that likes to drive forward with the ball rather than Pablo Sarabia against Ryan Aitnori is going to be interesting now.
Yeah, absolutely. Mel, what do you think? The first 9 fixtures, how many points? I mean, it's a long way off at the moment, and obviously we're still waiting on signings, and a lot can change. But what's your points tally? Would you be really happy with that? Them first nine games?
I don't know. You don't mind me not joining in with this, do you? Well, I'll join in, but I'm not going to give you any figures or whatever. I don't know what the Wolves team's like. I don't know what the other team's like. I'd love us to have 20 points after the first 9 games.
Someone said the other day when we did the thingy, someone went 30 points. I'm like, yeah, okay. Off the first 10 games.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting. I don't know how they worked that one out. They obviously weren't very good at maths at school. But unless they've changed the point system where you get extra points for if you get more than so many goals, you get another point.
Yeah.
Is that a new change in the system?
I guys in the chat here, come on, I'm gonna give you the first 9 games. Let's everyone in the chat just get involved with this, just for a little bit of fun. How many right now, where we are right now? How many points do you really think we can get from the first 9 games? Come on, everyone in the chat, just put your points down. Maximum is 27. Let's see. I mean, looking at the fixtures as well, when we go through these, whilst we look at that, we play Villa away on the 29th of October. We've got the December fixtures. We've got Liverpool, haven't we? And United back-to-back away from home over those. And then we've got in between, we've got Brentford at home and then Arsenal. So we've got Arsenal, Liverpool and United away between the 13th and the 30th. And we're finishing the season. With a run against, I think it's Sunderland at home, Brighton away, Fulham at home, and Burnley away. That's a nice end to the season, isn't it, Chris? I think that if we need points.
Yeah, I mean, it's, early in April as well. You're away at West Ham, which is somewhere you can get a result. Away at Leeds, possibly. Spurs, we seem to have the hoodoo over just lately. So, Sunderland at home, there's points to be gained. Look, if we can't be optimistic that we're going to get points now, we may as well not bother. So,
if Chris makes a good point, if you're looking at May already, and you're looking at those fixtures, hopefully you're looking at those fixtures to say if we need points to get into Europe.
Yeah.
As opposed to stay up.
I personally think that, this is the vibe I'm getting. It's early days in the transfer window. My view might change on this depending on what happens. But if what transpires over the next couple of months happens, my understanding is that they really do want to try and push to get back into Europe. They want to push for that top 7 next season. Definitely finishing the top half. And I've said before, it's early days. I think Chris has hit the nail on the head. Really, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about the mood music at this point in time than if you went back to 12 months ago. How the mood music was, the things that were going into the coming out of Jeff's in his mouthpiece in the Star, the season ticket a fiasco. There's so much negativity even then going into in the mid-season. You know, this year the season tickets have been frozen quite rightly across the board for everyone. They've made a bit of a PR disaster with the Wolves women stuff. Obviously, players are leaving, but there's a restructure, and we've got this new manager that's brought new hope to the team, and it seems to. So the new music's there, and we will see how it transpires. And at the moment, I'm feeling a bit like Chris, and Chris is a very good barometer. Actually, I think Chris, you're quite a good barometer on the mood. You're not easy to please, and you will if it's something that really annoys you, you'll say it. So, like the fact that you're kind of saying at the moment as that barometer that at this point in time you're feeling quite relaxed about it. I think if cheerful Chris is feeling relaxed, we should all be chill. Is that fair comment, Chris?
Well, look, Dave, at the end of the day, I'm a supporter. I'm here to support the football club. If I can't see what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve and give them my, endorsement that that's what they're trying to do and get behind them at this stage of the summer, I don't really see what the point is. I might not be this positive at the end of July when there's been, 10
I think if we're
about,
sitting here in 4 weeks and we've still only had one signing and there's more players gone out, then we'd start.
Yeah, I won't be very cheerful then.
No. So it's again, as I'll come back to it, and everyone just bear in mind this stupid Club World Cup's going on that no one's really interested in. The financial accounts have got moved back to the end of June. I don't realistically think things are going to start to move until we hit the first couple of weeks in July. Now, if we're sitting here the third week of July, then I would start to question because, does anyone know when they report back to training? It's got to be early July, I would have thought, isn't it?
I think it'll be in 2 stages, Dave. There'll be the players that haven't really done anything in the summer, and then there'll be, a few weeks later, the ones, that have been in international and that sort of stuff.
What would you sort of have an idea? When do they go back to training? Like, I think Chris is right. The ones that have been on international duty.
They'll either go back the last week in June or the first week in July.
So imminently in the next fortnight, the ones that, as Chris said, are not involved in international tournaments and haven't had a break, they will come back first. The ones that have just been relaxing, and then the ones that have been on international duty or involved with their countries or anything like that, they'll come back probably in stages depending on how long they need. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, it'll be on a needs must, because it used to be that everybody would be back at the same time, but there's obviously the fixtures and the international fixtures, the club fixtures, but more or less all the international fixtures are far more intense than it used to be. So I just think they just got to use common sense on managing the players properly. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Well, so that brings us on to the final part of the show, which is your opportunity to ask any question that you want to us, to Cheerful Chris, to Mel. It could be a question to Mel on his career. It could be Cheerful's favourite curry or beer. It could be anything to do with football or Wolves. Just let us have your questions. I've got the first one here. Wayne, I can answer that question for you straight off. The sponsor for next season is the same sponsor as this season. It is the Bet. It's a 2-year deal, £9.5 million a year. That deal is still in place until the end of this season. The following season, you will not see them as the main sponsor because Wolves will not be allowed to have because that contract will come to an end. They will not be able to have a betting sponsor as the main sponsor on their shirt, but it will be the same sponsor as this year. So I hope that's answered your question. North Street's been itching to get this one. who has paid the eSports £27 million place in China. I've not really looked into this, to be honest. I think this is a story that's been out there. I'm not really sure. Chris, I don't know if you've heard any more about that.
So what that refers to is that there is a esports stadium being built. It's actually, I believe, another building that's being converted in China to I think it's 2,000-seater esports arena that is being built, and Wolves esports team will be using that as a home fixture. Look, that's not part of the football side. I believe it's being funded by Fosun Sports, not by Wolves. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1987 Limited, whatever our accounts is. So it's outside of Wolves. It's coming that way. It is disappointing with my trust head on that we can engage in £20 million infrastructure deals on, esports that cannot possibly make the same revenue as the football side. Yet we struggled to find somebody to paint the stadium. So that is something that the trust will look at and move forward and talk to the club about, which we do. But it's not coming out of Wolves'.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I mean, I can understand why that would frustrate supporters, because it frustrates me. Because if that is the case, that £27 million is being funded by Fosun Sports Group for an esports team, which most Wolves fans don't care about. And, the esports team, I know how it works. They can sell sponsorship across the shirts on there, which gives Wolves a competitive advantage. For example, if they're talking to Duracell batteries, for example, as an example, and you've got a club like Palace or a club like Brighton or even a club like Brentford or what have you that are looking for that sponsorship deal, Wolves are able to say, we can give you sponsorship across our esports team as well, because that's something that they can't do. And that I do think that runs into part of Wolves' finances. So from that point of view, but I think the majority of Wolves fans just don't really get the esports thing on, like, how does that benefit Wolves?
It's quite simple, Dave. It doesn't, because it's nothing
Exactly.
to do with Wolves.
But
I mean,
apparently,
this is like people moaning about Todd Bowley opening an ice hockey arena in America with another part of his business. He can do that. Fosun Sports can do what they like in terms of Fosun Sports. People need to understand how our club is managed and owned and structured now in terms of ownership, because a lot of people get on the bandwagon and moan about things, but it's baseless.
Absolutely. But I do think, I do think, and I'm going to get Mel's take on this as well. I'm a little frustrated that they're like, Molineux needs more than a lick of paint. We need to develop, that stadium needs to develop. You look at Birmingham City down the road, and they've got massive big plans to build a 50,000-60,000 stadium sports complex thing. Villa are increasing the stadium size. Liverpool have been doing stuff. Man United are doing a large tent. And Wolves are still sitting there waiting for, like, the Steve Bull. It just needs knocking down and rebuilding, really. And I know we'd lose capacity, but I think everyone's a bit frustrated. And if they're then spending £27 million on an esports stadium, why aren't they spending that amount of money on infrastructure at Wolves? Mel, what's your take? What's your thought on that?
Well, I haven't got a Scooby about the esports stuff, but as you say, it's technically got nothing to do with the club, because it's just another arm of Fosun. So what I am concerned about is the fact that the plans for extending the the North Bank or the Stan Cullis stand all the way around, knocking the Steve Bull down, and then the North Bank, and it all coming round pretty well like that, and then up in the capacity to probably 50,000 makes sense to me. But I think Fosun have then got to be confident that Wolves are going to be in the Premier League. So I think that the fact that it hasn't been done is the fact that Fosun aren't confident Wolves are going to be in the Premier League. Otherwise, you'd do it. You'd do it without blinking.
Yeah, and I think this is something, as Wolves move forward, there needs to be more discussion and debate about this, because like this, I look over at Villa improving their stadium. I look over at what Birmingham and their owners are coming out, and the way they're communicating as well. You see them come out talking to the fans about the plans, how it's being bought, the land's being bought, what we're planning on do. You know, you see all that stuff, and we just think Molyneux's going to, again, if you don't invest, it's going to cost more in the long run. So be interesting to see on that one. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure. I'll get other people's opinions on that as well.
Dave, that's another, the stadium and development of it is another lesson that I think we're waiting to see if they've learned. And that's where we are with it, really.
Absolutely. But yeah, I can understand the frustration.
The other one is that because of I may miss a lot, because I don't. Obviously, I miss quite a bit. But is there a long-term future? Do Fosun see that, or are behind the scenes? I'm just putting it out there. Could Fosun be looking to sell? Because they're not in a position. It may be because of the dynamics have changed with Chinese companies, because the Chinese government were pushing involvement in the world game. Their companies going out and into there.
I don't think so, Mel. I don't think.
No, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
I'll tell you the reason for why. Right, I think they would be open to offers if someone came in, and but I also think, and I think Sutty's touched on this, the World Cup's next year. A lot of Chinese companies invest a lot in the World Cup. I think there's been a loosening of that tightening of the purse strings and stuff, which is why you'll see them investing more at the moment.
Dave,
so I'm not sure.
Dave, the biggest sponsor of the Club World Cup is BYD, a Chinese car company.
There you go. So,
and I think this is what you're going to see right the way up. What Keith said, exactly what Keith said. I think you'll see this all the way up to the World Cup next year. Chinese, even with everything that goes on with Mr. Trump, when it comes to things being a success and money coming into America for that, it'll soon change its tune, as everybody's seen over the last 6 months.
Yeah, and Wolves are the only club that's left owned by a Chinese company as well. So that's another reason why you might see a slight change. But I'm feeling a bit more positive generally. But long term, medium term, I think if an American company comes in with an offer of around about 400 or 500 million, they'd have to seriously think about it. But I also think they would welcome investment from to get equity in, to equity partners in to give away some shares or some part of the company if they could then invest in that infrastructure. So, but we'll see. Question for you, Mel. Darren Timmins wants to know who's the best and the worst player you played against.
I don't know about worst players. Some of the best players have been Kevin. When I first started my career, I played against Ipswich, and there was a lad named Kevin Beattie, who was different class. If he hadn't have had so many injuries, he'd have probably played 100 times for England. He was that good. Then your Kenny Dalglish's, your Kevin Keegans have been wonderful to play against. I played against Ray Wilkins, Brian Robson. When I played against Brian Robson when he was at West Brom, just before he went to Man United for a massive fee, and he was just different class, Brian Robson, to be perfectly honest. Great player. So yeah, I played against a lot of good players, but I didn't play against any bad players, to be perfectly honest, because you had to be, you've got to be a good player to play
at that level
quite regularly at the top level. There was no such thing as a bad player or
I think
the worst
some good
player.
some good names you shouted there. Chris, one for you. If Sameda goes, could you give Pedro? This is from Elikers.
No, Dave, I don't think it's quite his time. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't get more time last year. I wasn't too fussed about Gary O'Neill, because obviously Gary O'Neill's Gary O'Neill. I thought that Pereira might start exposing him a little bit more and giving him that exposure. But it didn't happen, really. I think he came on as a sub a couple of times very late on. Again, he's a bit like Aït-Nouri. I think he's very talented, very good going forward. But defensively, maybe not. I mean, have we got a manager now that can work with a young lad and make him a good player? I absolutely think we can. So, look, I think that's I still think he's one for the future. I think we might see him a bit more next season, but I don't think he's our number one right back if Semedo goes.
Good answer. Love it. Mel, Phil Bowdler wants to know, what's the best match you've ever played in?
Yeah, well, the best match I ever played in was obviously Wembley, because I've only played at Wembley once. So to play in a League Cup final against the current European Cup holders, and went on to retain the European Cup, Nottingham Forest, that was probably the best game I ever played in. So I suppose that if you're asking some of the games that I've played in when I've scored, we went just before that cup final. We went to Man United and beat them 1-0. We were the only team that season to come away from Man United with a win in any competition.
Recently, until Martinho scored that winner, you were the last person.
I was the last one to score a winner at Man U, yeah. But we won 1-0. But probably the most important goal that I ever scored for Wolves was in the semi-final of that League Cup, because just under 10 minutes to go at Molineux, we were actually out.
Yeah.
And I scored an overhead kick from the corner corner of the box, which I know somebody said afterwards. I says that was lucky. And I said, well, it's a bit like I think it was the golf guy, was it Lee Trevino, said when they were commentating, and he just won the Masters or something, and he said, oh, that was a lucky shot on the 16th because it was in the bunker, and it was a big bunker there, and you couldn't see the green, let alone you couldn't see the flag, top of the flag, let alone the green. And he said, you've chipped out of there and it's gone straight in the hole. And he'd won by the one shot. And he said, well, what was the aim of the shot? And the more I practice, the luckier I get. So even though I scored with an overhead kick from the edge of the box that went flying into the far corner, somebody asked me, did you mean that? I said, well, automatically, you just think that's what you do, isn't it?
Instinct.
The fact that I didn't, the best thing was that I didn't have time to think about it. The ball just popped up on between two Swindon players, and I just automatically just overhead kicked it. I fell down. The next thing I knew, within seconds, Derek Parkin had jumped on me, and I'm thinking something's happened here. Because I was
You
got me
never
back
saw
to
it go
goal.
in?
I didn't see it go in because I'd
No.
got me back to goal. I'd landed on me back, and the next thing I got was Wolves lads jumping on me. I remember Derek Parkin was the first one, and you think, wow. But lucky or not, that got us into extra time, and then the king himself, John Richards, got the winner and took us to Wembley. And then
the rest is history.
The rest is history. The Wolves, the British record transfer fee that we paid Villa for Andy Gray paid off, and Andy got the winner.
He did.
There you go. So, but happy memories. I was just, and I say this quite a lot, but I was blessed to be good enough or be able to be a professional footballer. There's a lot of good players when I came through the school system, and then the counties, and then play for England schoolboys. There's a lot of good players, but there's only a very few that go on to play professional.
Absolutely.
I know when I played for England schoolboys, there was probably 2 of us that only went on to play at the top level, and one of them was Mabbott, not Gary Mabbott's older brother. It was, and then there was a few lads played lower divisions, but I was very blessed to play professional football, and then at the top level. But I was even more blessed to play for my team, Wolves, growing up as a Wolves fan. So to tick the box that you played professionally, but then to play for your own team at the top level, win a major trophy was, I feel very blessed and very honoured, and I'm very humble. I'd like to think I'm very humble in the fact that, as a Wolves fan, it's great. Couldn't get any better. So I'm very blessed.
Fantastic answer. Hopefully we get a trophy soon. Michael Hall said, does anyone know Connor Cody could come back? That ship has sailed. He's linked with Rangers. Carl wants to know, Chris, answer this. What would you like in for new rules for the new football season? You've got an answer to that?
Well, yeah. To get some involvement with VAR with former players that actually have played the flipping game. Second, to that rule regarding if somebody's already been booked, you can't bring in VAR.
Yeah.
There's got to be common sense that if your VAR is the video assistant referee, it's there to get to the best decision and the right decision quickly and fairly. That's what it's been brought in for. But then you get stupid things that come up. We couldn't send it to VAR because he's already been booked, or he's all this. I'm thinking, how pathetic are these rules? They need to look at the rules for VAR, and they need to look at bringing in people that have actually played the game to assist the people on VAR. I just don't understand it. They're trying. It's as if, and I've got a lot of good friends that are top referees, absolutely top draw as people and as competency as doing the job, but they need help in certain times. And when because things happen so quickly and you can't see everything, you want to know you want to know that you've got people in that are making decisions or making suggestions on a VAR to the referee that know what they're talking about.
Would you go on, Mel? Do you think players should be on the VAR panel, and would it be something you'd do if you had the chance?
Surely there should. Former players should be assisting the referees to get the right decision. It's a difficult job. I've got all credit to the referees that are doing there. But if you're talking about VAR, you then need the best people to assist them. Simple as that. And
Chris,
you're asking people that haven't played the game to actually, oh, was that deliberate? Did he get the player first? Has the guy taken a dive? Did he touch him there? How much contact, etc. You've got to apply the game to understand what's going on, in my opinion.
absolutely.
Your
Chris,
top referees get it right pretty well most of the time. Obviously, that's why they're the top referees. But if the top referee wants some guidance from VAR because of is somebody offside before it happens, has there been has it touched his hand? Was it deliberate, etc. And all this, and that's the other thing with the handball situation. Do me a favour with some of these decisions that are made.
I could tell it really frustrates you, Chris.
Well, it does frustrate me because all we're looking for is the idea of VAR. I totally, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it's a tool. It's a tool, and like any tool, it's the person using the tool that is the problem if things aren't working out or whatever. So, and if everything's working really well, the person using the tool deserves the credit as well. So but you've got to get the right people assisting them. But there seems to be this arrogance, not with individual referees or collectively, even the majority, with the hierarchy, that they don't want. Oh, that's our little place. We're very special. We're the referees. They are special.
Absolutely, Chris.
But they do need some help regarding VAR, in my opinion.
Absolutely, mate. I love that. Absolutely passionate, and I think they need you on it. Chris, Mel's made some really good points there, and there is some new rules coming in for the new season, such as the is it the goal kick? If they take too long, there'll be a corner awarded and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on what Mel's had to say? And
well, I mean, Mel's right, Dave. And the problem is, we used to call this the beautiful game, and unfortunately, because we've got people who are involved in the rules and laws changing the game, never played them. It's actually a game of bollocks now, and it's not good. I watched the game yesterday in British Lions played Argentina yesterday, and there was a referee there. It's rugby. I don't really do rugby much, but I just chuckled to myself about his on-screen activity. There was a ball thrown. The English guy moved it on really quickly. The guy that was facing up to him couldn't react. It was split second. He was right in front of him. Clash of heads. And the referee looked at it. I mean, everybody at the start was saying, "Oh yeah, he's got to go. It's a sending off." And he sat and he went through it and talked to it with his team, which I don't hear or see that with our VAR people. And he basically said, "Look, he's done this, and he came to the conclusion that he did foul him, but he was moving in on momentum. He got nowhere to go. It was a momentum thing, and what he did is he gave him a yellow card for a number of minutes, so he went off the pitch because he caused a problem. But the referee had got the game knowledge to look at it properly, and that's where I think it's wrong. And Mel's right; they could do that with ex-pros, and get that knowledge into the VAR. The goalkeeper kicking the ball, we used to have that before. They couldn't take 4 steps going back to God when you couldn't. They couldn't do that before. That rule has never gone away. So it's not a new rule. They've just refined it because it's something that's gone out of the game. People being hot on it, so they're now trying to. I'd rather them think about substitution time wasting and all the crap that goes on in a game that now makes it 180 minutes when we're sitting in the stadium. There's just so much wrong with the game now, and I'm personally sick of them trying to change it.
Fair play. Next question is for Mel. Mel, Joe wants to know, Was you involved in the Wonderful Wolves song, which is a Wonderful Wolves winning all the way? Wonderful Wolves can play at home or play away. Farnwell's Army's here to stay in. Were you involved with that? And do you still play the song?
Yes and no.
He's in the song. His name's in the song.
Oh, I am
I
in
know,
the song.
yeah.
Yes, I was involved in it. Yes, I went to, I think, George Berry or whatever was, I think, more on the vocals. But we were all involved. We were all in. We all went down. Yeah, it was great. That was very happy memories with that. I don't still play it now.
Were you in a little studio doing it?
I can't remember. We went to a studio to do it. Yeah, I can't remember where. Definitely went to a place to do it.
Did you have a laugh doing it, Mel?
Oh well, we always had a laugh. Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's the beauty. You see, if you got when I can remember over my football careers, and especially at Wolves, that when things were going well, there was great banter in the dressing room. There was no cliques, what you call cliques in the dressing room. And then, but you can know if things aren't going well. You suddenly develop cliques in the dressing room. There's one or two lads that are a little bit what I referred to earlier on. They're upsetting people, you know. But the key to success is getting good players that have got a team ethos.
Yeah.
And that are in, and the older players especially are in what we call good pros. They're encouraging the younger lads. They're encouraging everybody. But if a younger lad or whatever is getting a little bit too cocky, they're on his case straight away, mate. I tell you. In other words, in the right way, they don't, but they're more or less, hey, get your, you know.
Absolutely. Another question here.
Keep your feet on the ground, son. You know,
got another question.
Don't get too carried away.
Another question from David. Right, we've got over 700 of you watching live, and of course, a couple of.
No, that was definitely a goal. None of us know. I mean, obviously,
people are listening on the podcast. I'll read the question out because if anyone's listening to it on audio, David Wright wants to know: Mel, should John Richards' goal have been disallowed when he jumped up with Shilton at Wembley?
Well, I'm biased. I'm totally biased. Shilton went. Shilton's the England keeper. He wasn't the tallest, but he was very fit, built like a brick outhouse, good athlete. John's jumped up, and Eddie in, but just John's got the run on him. He's jumped up early, hung there, and knocked it. Shilton's faffing about, and then just goes down like a sack of spuds, doesn't he? And you're thinking, really? And he basically bought a foul, which, in my opinion, it was a goal. But then I'm biased, aren't I?
Well, yeah. Now there's your answer for that one. I'm just having a look. If there are any more, I hope I haven't missed anyone off. I think we've had a fantastic show. We're on 89 likes. I'm sure that if we've got over nearly 700 watching across platforms here, I'm sure everyone could hit that a like. Thanks if you've been joining us over on the TikTok as well. I do want to say again, big thank you to CADDY Comps who supported it. Just to remind you, the link to them is in the description below. They're the biggest golf competition website. Every night you can win all the latest golf equipment from as little 79p. They have over 100 competitions per week. We've already given away over £8 million worth of prizes to over 10,000 lucky winners, headed up by former Premier League footballer Jimmy Bullard. He's the main man there, and he's pretty handy at golf too. Check the links in the description below. And I also want to say, of course, a big, massive thank you as well to our regular supporters. Creation Wolf. Final words, final thoughts from Chris and then Mel. Chris, final words for everyone before we finish the podcast. We're just coming up to 2 hours, which has been a great show. Thanks for everyone for sticking with us.
Yeah, I think everybody should be looking forward to the summer and looking forward to our owners proving what they've said they're going to do, and if everybody's foot rowing in the same direction and they're doing what they've said they will, then the good days of Nuno won't be far away, I don't think.
Love it. Mel, final words from you. We've got about a minute left. You can pack it into a minute.
Yeah, just following on from Chris, really, it's been an absolute pleasure to join Chris and yourself, Dave. Nuno did really well. 2 seventh place finishes with Wolves. For some reason, he goes. It doesn't work out at Tottenham. No surprise there. We leave etc. Then he goes to Forest. It's no surprise at all to any Wolves fans how well he's done. He will have a soft spot, or he will have a massive part in Wolves' history. He'll always be adored by Wolves fans and thanked for his efforts. We've got a manager now that I think the vast majority of Wolves fans, if not all Wolves fans, have taken to. He's galvanised the team. You can see that the players have bought into everything that he wants to do. The two signings, Agbadou and Manetzi, are team players, and they've settled in very well. I was really pleased with Manetzi because he works his socks off. Great goal! What a finish, by the way.
Fantastic.
That was it. You're talking about my.
He's missed easy ones.
Well, the team that I watched, and then I played with King John himself, but Dugan and Richards. Dugan wins the ball, flicks onto John Richards. John Richards through, whack, goal. It was all over again, and I'm thinking, wow, I was so pleased for the lad. Larson did really well. So if we can, and if Lopez is anything, can fit in, he's got some energy about him. He's got some skill and ability, which obviously he has. Then we haven't mentioned all the other players still there. That if we can get the best out of them, Wang, you see, is I like Wang, but he dropped off. If we can get back to what he's, to his prime.
Vitor doesn't seem to fancy him though, because he just don't seem to be giving him any time, does he?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
If he gets a good pre-season, and you can and he fits in, then you never know. You never know. And there's going to be there's Bellegarde I like. Bellegarde came back, did really well.
You shouldn't underestimate the effect a poor manager has on a player and their confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think with Wang, that's where we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if he can just if they'll all start. The thing about pre-season, and any manager will tell you, he's going to tell them, look, everybody starts clean sheet. Up you go again. You impress me. I'm going to have preconceived ideas about some players that they're going to be more or less. He's going to have 6, 7, 8 players probably in his mind that are going to already be there.
Yeah.
But it's up to everybody else to change his mind on some of those. But then the other places which are up for grabs, people have got to then earn them. And it's up to players to go and play, get a starting position or get in the team, get in the squad, get in the manager's thoughts.
It's going to be a very, very interesting summer, and it's going to be very interesting to see where this Wolves team is going to be come that first game against Manchester City. Guys, we're literally approaching 2 hours. It's been an epic show tonight. If you've enjoyed it, please smash a like. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell because there's content virtually every day coming. Leave your thoughts if you're watching this back on catch up in the comments. If you're listening to it on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you follow us on the podcast as well. And we will be back with another 2 Wolves fans next week and pundits Sunday night to talk about whatever happens in the next 7 days. I just want to put on record my thanks ever so much to my good friend Cheerful Chris and my good mate as well now, Mel Eves as well. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and giving 2 hours of your time, boys. I much appreciate it.
Problem, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Until the next one, everyone.
Pleasure, Dave.
Always Wolves.
Thank you.